Chapter 7. Hangover. Okay. Interesting. Still about a week out from Samhain. I wasn't sure what woke me up. I'd been dreaming, running, being chased by something. There was singing reverberating through my head, the sound of dripping water, the taste of moss in my mouth, and then I was toppling into space and woke with a start. In my own bed, thankfully. It was a relief after everything else that had been happening lately. Are we maybe not fully severed yet? No, it's our body for sure with the long hair. But then I lay there for a long moment, staring at the ceiling as I tried to work out whether the dream woke me up or if I'd heard something in real life. My head felt weird, heavy, foggy, and my throat was tight, sore. A cold? After all that, I ended up with a stupid cold. Ugh. I lay there, face down in my pillow, before I remembered something had woken me up. And maybe I should check it out. Hopefully it's not the bathroom. I sat up in bed carefully, listening, trying to pick up on any sound. It might have just been someone getting water or something. Wait. No, there it was again. That sounded like someone whimpering? It's coming from Spencer's room. I stumbled out of bed, my head throbbing as soon as I was upright. Ugh, headache of doom. Half stumbling my way to the bathroom, I put a hand to my head as if I'd somehow soothe away the pain by touching it. Spencer hadn't locked his side of the bathroom, so I eased the door open and peered inside his room. It was too dark to see well, but I could just make out Spencer curled up in bed. He seemed to be fast asleep. No whimpering or any other weird noises. Maybe I imagined it? I didn't think so, but whatever it was, it had stopped. I turned to leave when I heard it again. Oh, a sleeping Spencer. He twisted in the sheets, and in the light filtering in from outside, I saw his expression shift as if he was experiencing something unpleasant. Nightmare? I hesitated. If Spencer woke up and found me in his room, he'd probably freak out. At best, he'd be mad. At worst, he'd wake up Mom and Dad with a complete meltdown. But... no. I have to... get... He curled up tighter beneath the blankets, clearly having some terrible dream. I knew about those all too well, and I decided I couldn't leave him alone. I walked softly to his bed and sat on the edge. Spencer? I rested a hand on his shoulder. He was shaking in his sleep. Spencer, it's okay. You're just having a bad dream. Spencer made another soft, sad noise. No. Shh. No. Please. Please. Let me go. I'm sorry. Nora. I started, at first thinking maybe he'd woken up, but no. He's dreaming about me? Spencer? Spencer, it's okay. I'm here. It's Nora. Spencer quieted down and his eyes cracked open. He was looking up at me, expression still foggy with sleep. Nora? Yes. It's me. I'm back. I'm okay. Spencer's eye went wide and fearful, just the one. No. No. If you're here, then they'll come back. Spencer, you're dreaming. Probably the one with the penguins. It's okay. It's just a dream. No, they're here. They're here. She let them in. Aw. They're here. There were those fairies that the brownie saved us from. What if Roel let some fairies in here? Is that what is plaguing Spencer's dreams? Causing the nightmares and all the other roots? I don't know. I hesitantly reached out, smoothing his hair. He was definitely still mostly asleep. He'd had night terrors before, for a few years when we were about 7 or 8. Maybe they were back. Back then, he'd cry inconsolably until I crawled into bed with him. Aww. But that was a long time ago. Now he just clutched his face, writhing beneath the sheets. And then, as suddenly as he started, Spencer fell still and silent. Maybe all the stress from moving back had finally caught up to him. He didn't wake when I touched him this time, and seemed to have completely fallen back into deep sleep. And I suddenly remembered how fragile he was underneath all that anger. He'd always been emotional, easily upset. And clingy. He'd followed me around so much when we were kids. I guess it was nice to know that when he was half asleep, he could still rely on me a little. I gently rearranged the blankets and pillows, tucking him back into bed properly. He'd had night terrors after the incident 5 years ago, too. For a little while. Seemed like stress was always the catalyst. Though if that was true, what was the catalyst when they started up for the first time? That was a brain teaser for another night. My head was still pounding by the time I made my way back to my own room. I was almost too tired and dizzy to crawl back under my own sheets. As I did, I caught a glimpse of the time. Just past 3 a.m. Witching hour time. I really needed to get my sleep habits back in order. That was my last thought before I finally drifted off. When morning finally arrived, I woke reluctantly to something fussing at my shoulder. My head was so horrible, pounding, heavy. My eyes hurt.
Nora?
I tried to sit up or even talk, but my body was having none of it. I managed to roll part of the way onto my side with all the grace of a beached whale. I've been trying for Mom, but close enough. I knew what you were going for. All I wanted was to go back to sleep, but I had school. I could sleep in the car when Allie picked me up, and then in class. Elliot had been getting away with it after all. Mom, however, had other ideas.
Nora? Nora, what's wrong?
I tried to sit up again, but this time she pushed me back down. And by push, I mean she put out her hand, and I folded like wet paper. I'm fine, just...
You don't look well.
Blah.
Yes, of course, blah. I was expecting one of you to get sick by now. I thought it would be Spencer, but I suppose it was your turn, wasn't it? It was Spencer last time.
Mom.
What? One of you always gets sick right before picture day. Which, I have to say, you're lucky senior pictures were earlier this year. And that I got proofs from your previous school.
Why is she talking about pictures again? Have to get ready.
No. You are staying in bed today and getting some rest.
She placed a hand on my forehead, frowning. Her fingers were cold and pleasant feeling.
No fever yet?
She almost sounds disappointed. She checked her watch.
I have a full day booked, but I'm going to call you later on, all right? And if you get worse, you need to call your grandmother and get her to take you to the doctor, understand?
Honestly, I wasn't going to put up much of a fight. I was tired and, frankly, I just wanted more sleep. I didn't know if all those nights wandering around outside were catching up to me or what. I mean, that was your other body, so... But I didn't exactly hate the idea of staying home for a day.
Do you need me to let Allie know you're staying home?
I'll text. I mumbled it into my pillow, but she must have understood because she left after that. She paused in the doorway.
No coffee today, but I'll bring you up some tea before I leave.
Bleh. I made a face. Mom's tea for colds was always gross. Too sweet and lemony. I hated lemons. I burrowed into my pillow for a split second before fumbling for my phone. Oh my. Is this some kind of riddle? Sick. No school. Ah, you okay? Sick. Cold. Cold? Yes. I set my phone back on my night table, or tried. I heard it fall to the floor with a soft thud, but just left it there as I fell back into a doze. Yeah, I've been that sick before, it's pretty... Ugh. I was tired down to my bones, not to mention all fuzzy, heavy, and woozy. Even so, I only dozed fitfully, with uncomfortable dreams I couldn't quite remember when I'd rise to near wakefulness. I missed when my phone rang the first time. I heard the second one and rolled over, fumbling for a minute before I remembered it had fallen. I didn't want to bother, but if it was Mom, she'd have kittens if I didn't answer. As much as I kinda wanted a cat, that definitely wasn't the way. Though explaining my mom having a litter of kittens to the neighbors might be easier than one might think, given who my neighbors are. Yes. I leaned over the edge of the bed, fishing about blindly for my phone. At some point, I realized that with half my body sprawled on the floor and the other half still snuggled in the blankets, I was stuck. Dang it. I lay there, resting my head on the carpet and trying to find the energy to climb all the way out of bed, then back into it. What is that under my bed? There was a strange nebulous lump lurking in the shadows there. I was reaching for it when my phone chimed again. I stared down at it blearily, then finally crawled all the way out of the blankets, and immediately pulled myself back up into them. It was Mom, texting to see if I was okay. I quickly messaged her back that I was fine. I also had 2 missed calls from Allie. Just checking on me, or had something happened? I quickly texted her. Everything okay? She didn't respond immediately, and I'd actually just started to doze off again when my phone chimed.
In class, all okay?
You called.
Wanted to tell you I'm stopping by during lunch.
Okay. Why?
Because I'm worried, you dork! Ugh!
I'm fine, really. I chuckled softly. My head felt a little better, but I was definitely still kind of woozy. My throat was sticky and sore. The pain had kind of lodged itself on the right side, hurting every time I swallowed. Ugh. I sat up, rubbing my head. As much as I wanted to just lay in bed, I should get up and get something to eat. Maybe I could have a shower, too. I forced myself to swing my legs out of bed and get up. I looked around for my slippers, but couldn't see them anywhere. The only thing I could find was my journal. Ugh. My journal. I was supposed to be getting back into my research, and instead I was sick. Great. I picked it up and dropped it on my bed as I crouched to see if I'd kicked the slippers underneath. Probably that lump I saw earlier. Except... that wasn't actually what the lump was. I very carefully pulled out something I knew hadn't been there before, because I'd checked. Ah, another fairy favor. A little posy of flowers. I chewed the inside of my cheek as I turned them over in my hand. I had definitely checked under the bed for one of these before. This one had to be new. The brownie? Was it the one placing these around the house? I don't think so. Just a hunch, but I don't think so. A double cross? I mean, I had let it stay when I had the option to kick it out. Though even if the brownie had put this under my bed, that didn't necessarily mean it had nefarious motives. But it didn't have to be nefarious to cause problems. I couldn't leave these things around the house. Ugh, I'll have to do another sweep. Even though I wasn't feeling up to it. Leave the brownie alone. Just get the favors, put them outside, not in the bin. Not the garbage bin, just put them outside. I needed to just search around and make sure there weren't any more posies around. Whether the brownie was responsible or not, I couldn't leave them in the house. Besides, brownies usually protected the family they lived with. So, there was that. Okay. Carrying the flowers I'd found with me, I decided to check Spencer's room next. After all, he'd been acting weird, and it made sense to check there first. I've also never been here in the daytime. I love his purple office chair. That is a delight. Cool. Oh, hello. I wasn't even looking for you. The first thing I noticed in his room was the brownie, sitting on his bed in a nest of socks. I'm not going to ask what you're doing, but please don't make a mess. It looked at me solemnly and chattered in its weird voice. I didn't understand any of it, of course. I dropped a check under Spencer's bed. There was one of the stupid things there as well. I stood and looked around. You know, you could help me find these, instead of bringing more inside. I frowned up at his curtain rod and moved closer. Ugh, another one? I pulled his desk chair over so I could get it, feeling a bit precarious up that high with my head feeling so weird. I managed to get it without killing myself and looked around. Where else? The brownie narrowed its eyes and hopped off the bed, heading for Spencer's closet. Alright, you do know where they are? If you can help me, that'd be great. Oh, no you don't! I hurried after it, planning to put a stop to whatever mischief it was up to before it got started. I had no idea why it would take to pranking him again when it had finally stopped, but it didn't seem like a prank was on its mind. It's very helpful, just let it help you. It waited for me, and when I joined it, actually kind of led me to a wadded shirt in the corner of the closet. It wasn't the shirt that seemed to interest it, though, because it dragged it out and unwrapped it to reveal a dirty towel? I looked down at the brownie, raising an eyebrow. I didn't know what it wanted to show me, but temporarily forgetting how gross I felt, I crouched down and pulled the towel out of the shirt. And made a small mess of twigs, leaves, clumps of moss that fell out of the towel. What the heck? I frowned down at the mess. Why would this be hidden in his closet? Unless... This is familiar. When I'd been sleepwalking outside, I'd had to clean my feet off to keep from tracking mud everywhere. And I'd hide the paper towels in the trash so no one else would see. Could this possibly be the same thing? Was Spencer sleepwalking outside? I mean, he's followed us before, but he's always been awake for those episodes. But my going outside at night had been related to being a changeling. If that was true, what did that mean for Spencer? He couldn't possibly also be a changeling, right? That made no sense. If he was, why be so suspicious of me all these years? No, this was something else. But what? I didn't know. And the most pressing thing was definitely to find any more fairy favors and get them out of the house. If it was the brownie, that was one thing. But Logan and the others had said the Fae might not easily let me go. I didn't want to be paranoid, but this felt like a sign they might still be around and keeping an eye on things. Or maybe it was just a sneaky way for that changeling fairy to make sure she could get back in the house. It's not like the brownie was the only fairy that had been around for a while. Regardless, I was going to have to stay vigilant. I hated that. I suddenly didn't feel safe in my own home. I needed some of these protections against fairies, just to be cautious. Oh wait! That bell Ewan gave me! Where had I put that? I hurried back to my room and rifled through my desk drawer. And there it was, a little iron bell with a red ribbon tied around it. I picked it up and gave it a ring. The sound was high-pitched, clear, and it felt like it echoed in my head long past when the sound actually died out. With this, and maybe if I put some salt in the window ledges, that might help keep anything unpleasant at bay. And if I was just being paranoid, it still wouldn't hurt, right? That's basically what I spent the rest of the morning doing, searching for posies and seasoning the house with some of Dad's gourmet sea salt. Unfortunately, I didn't get as far as I wanted. I was working kind of slowly because I had to take frequent breaks. I had just finished Spencer's window when I heard Mom's car pull up the drive. Well, at least you got Spencer's room done. Shoot! I scuttled from Spencer's room back into my own. Tiredness, worry, and missions were forgotten as I dove into my bed and pulled the blankets up.
Nora?
Hey, Mom.
How are you feeling?
Throat's less hurty and more sticky. Head is still a little woozy. Feels a bit less like it's full of cotton, though. Mom reached up to touch my forehead again, and I guess since I'd just been running around like a maniac, it was a bit hot and sweaty. She frowned.
I should call a doctor.
No, it's fine. I think I just need more rest. Probably just a cold. And you know, if I go to the doctor, they'll just be all, drink lots of fluids, and it'll be a waste of time. I feel that.
You feel awfully hot, though.
It's fine. I'm fine, really.
Well, if you're not better by tomorrow, I'm making you a doctor's appointment.
And I say again, I'm going to be fine.
I wish I could stay for lunch, but I have an appointment I can't miss. Are you going to be okay making yourself something?
Mom, I'm not 12. I know how to work the stove. She brushed my hair away from my face, smiling slightly.
Your hair's gotten awfully long, hasn't it?
You have no idea. I'll probably need to get it cut soon.
I wonder if Mandy is still cutting hair. You remember her?
I remember the time she tried to talk you into letting me go blonde.
No way, never! I love your red hair.
Well, I like it too.
You and Spencer both with your red curls.
At the mention of Spencer I thought about last night. The smile faded. Mom leaned over and kissed my forehead.
Why don't you try to get a little more sleep than have lunch, okay? I have to head out again. I just wanted to stop by and make sure you were all right.
Thanks, Mom. I appreciate it. She ruffled my hair, then headed for the door. I watched her go, frowning heavily. I definitely needed to get this fairy stuff sorted. I'd been way too focused on how all this affected me without considering how it might affect them. None of them asked to be dragged into this. Not her and Dad. And not Spencer. And I couldn't let their lives get disrupted because of me. Not again. Mom had been gone for only a few minutes when my phone chimed.
Hey, saw your mom leave. Here with Ewan.
What? Is that okay?
Worried. Let us in?
Give me a sec. Gah! Ewan was here? And I was still in my pajamas with Epic Bedhead, and they were already downstairs waiting? I at least grabbed some clothes and ran my hands through my hair before running downstairs to let them in. Hey! I wasn't expecting you guys to stop by.
Well, you don't look horrible.
Thanks, I think.
You sound a bit hoarse, though.
And you're pale. Are you sure you're okay?
I'm okay.
Sorry to stop by unannounced. When Allie told me you were ill, I was worried. Foxglove can have some unpleasant side effects on fairies and humans. Since you're a bit of both.
Oh, you think it's related to that? I thought it was just a cold.
It could be, but given what you've been through, we didn't want to discount the possibility it was a side effect.
I called my dad. Seems like he didn't trust Brenna's potion and made up a batch himself.
And?
He may have mixed up the measurements. Added a little too much foxglove. He thinks you may just have, well, a bit of a hangover, I guess you could call it.
Thanks, Logan. Kind of a delayed reaction, isn't it?
Foxglove can be poisonous to humans, but you're Fae, so the effects are a little different.
I mean, technically I didn't drink the foxglove, right? I mean, I did, but I wasn't in this body.
Foxglove has magic properties. It doesn't affect just physical bodies.
So my soul has a foxglove hangover? Foxglove poisoning or something? Is that what you people are telling me?
Well, it's possibly something along those lines.
Soul hangover. That sounds dumb.
Sorry. I'm really sorry. My dad's a terror in the kitchen on a good day. When he's making potions and changeling remedies, you can imagine the levels of wrongness he can achieve.
Well, it might not be such a bad thing I had to stay home today.
Why's that?
I found more of those fairy favors in the house.
What? I thought we cleared them all out.
Same. but I found one in my room, several in Spencer's.
In Spencer's room?
Fairy favors? What do you mean by that?
Just little posies of flowers and herbs, basically.
How many?
I only found a few this time. So far, anyway.
Well, it may not be anything particularly bad. Unless your house is specifically protected against them, wild fairies might lurk around or pass through. Just because they leave things behind it doesn't mean they want to cause harm. Someone might have even left it as a gift.
I was thinking that too. I thought it might even have been our brownie.
Could have been.
But even if that's true, other fairies can take them as an invitation. It's still best to find them all and get them out of the house. Especially considering the situation.
I agree.
What about that fairy ring in the back?
I don't know. Nothing new about it, really.
I'm going to go check it out.
Don't fall into Faye, please, Allie. Or Fairy, I should say. She headed for the kitchen, leaving Ewan and I in the foyer. We stood there for a moment before heading into the kitchen as well.
Sorry about all this.
Yeah, you should be. I mean, it's clearly all your fault. Somehow. He set a hand on my head, mussing my hair.
I should have kept an eye on my dad when he was mixing that potion.
Why? You have experience with changeling remedies?
No, I'm just better at reading instructions.
Oh, there are instructions for that? Like, fairy potion cookbook?
Well, he was reading something while mixing it up. No idea what, but I assume it was something like that.
Look, it's not a big deal. I don't feel that bad. And like I said, if I wasn't here, I wouldn't have realized there were fairy favors in the house still. So it turned out for the best.
You need to get some wards up, probably.
Well, I was putting salt and stuff before my mom got home.
You still have the bell I gave you?
Right here, actually. I pulled it out of my pocket to show him. He smiled slightly, seeming pleased I had it on me.
Good. You should keep it with you. The sound should drive off anything lurking around, at least for a little while.
I definitely will. He gave my hair a gentle tug.
It really is way longer, isn't it?
Way longer. Even my mom noticed. I really need to cut it soon.
I mean, I like it long.
Oh? Allie, don't come in from the backyard, please. This is the third time. Just let it happen, please. He ran his fingers through it, twisting one of the curls around his fingers.
I mean, it's your hair. You can do what you want. I'm sure it's hard to manage. I was just saying...
Well, I mean, I can reconsider cutting it. He leaned down and I bit my lip slightly. He was totally going to kiss me this time, right? Because I was definitely fine with that. More than. No, I don't like the double dashes. Allie, go away, please. No. I don't want to ruin this. Come on, please. I leaned up just a little and... What? What sacrifice do we need to make? To what supernatural being do I need to make a sacrifice to let these two have a proper kiss? Who?
Him.
Ewan jumped in, moved away from me at lightning speed. Dang it! Allie was leaning in the doorway, smirking at us. I glared at her. Could you not have waited, like, 10 more seconds? Ewan was, kind of adorably, pretending to examine the front of the fridge. His ears were remarkably red. I set my finger against the side of my neck and drew a line straight across as I glared daggers at Allie and mouthed, "You're dead." She looked vastly amused and not at all worried about that threat. I want my kiss, damn it! Thank you, Nora! Yes! Ah, I've never seen our girl so into it before. This is wonderful. I want my kiss, damn it. Please. Fine. Back to serious business.
So I didn't really find anything terrible lurking out there. I mean, I didn't really expect to, but that fairy ring definitely gives me bad vibes. As I thought, we need to get rid of it.
It's a good idea. All fairy rings can open gates to fairy, especially at this time of year. It's not good to keep it around. Believe me, they'll sneak those things right up to your window and use it as a way to drag you into their world if they can.
That thing was here when we got here, so at the very least, I don't think they're using to try to get me or whatever.
But that's no reason to not assume they won't. That's the problem with fairies, Nora. You never know when they're just being fey or when they're being shady. And if you want to stay safe, you have to assume the latter.
Yeah, but I think I mentioned before, kicking over a few mushrooms got the brownie pissed at Spencer. How can we get rid of it without, bringing a pox on the house and all that?
Shelley has been looking into that. We need to find a way to protect the household before we even touch that thing. But we'll find something. Don't worry about it.
I am worrying about it.
You worry about feeling better and finding the rest of those fairy favors. That's enough for you right now.
Right. I will.
We've got to get back. You going to be okay on your own?
I think so. I mean, I'm still feeling a little dizzy, but it's not that bad. Feels like a mild head cold.
Well, try to take it easy if you can.
I didn't know how that was going to work when I needed to scour the house for little fairy invites scattered around.
And let us know if anything weird happens, okay?
Anything weird? This whole thing was an unending parade of weird. I let the two of them out and ended up spending the afternoon looking for any more flowers or twigs or weird mushrooms in the bathroom cabinet. There weren't as many as last time, but definitely more than expected. I didn't quite get finished before Mom came back home and I had to retreat back to my room. It wasn't bad timing. I was starting to feel pretty gross again as evening approached. This time, before bed, I remembered to put Shelley's herb mixture back at my doors. I wasn't trying to keep myself in this time, but anything else, out. And I very carefully locked both doors, just to be on the safe side. Regardless, I didn't think I was going to be sleeping easy until all this was over for good. If that time ever came.